Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Practical Prosperity. This is a weekly show built for people coming into the real world. So, whether that's out of high school or just graduating college, this podcast is primarily made for you. My name is Cole Jensen, and by my side, I've got my co host and good friends, Nick Overbeek, Brady Trent, and Alec Eisman. And our goal is to give down to earth advice to young adults through conversation and stories. So, whether it's how to lease an apartment, making your first investment, or starting your own business, we've got you covered. The ultimate goal is to help people live a financially free and fulfilling life. We are available everywhere you listen to podcasts, even Apple now. Apple joined the train, I guess. And we're also on YouTube in a much more exciting video format where you get to see our beautiful faces. So be sure to check that out. In this I'll say it the first episode. In this episode 6, we are going to be talking about, I guess, getting started, getting prepared to live a financially free life. Because Alec brought up a good point that before you even think about investing or any of those other big questions about money basics, you first need some sort of income. You need a job of some sort, or you need your business to just be rolling, or you just need something. So, all right, Alec, take it away.
All right, yeah. So it's pretty straightforward, but yeah, you need if you're trying to invest in something like Nick with his real estate, like you don't just go in there with no money and expect to buy a house. So you need a job to pay for it, and hopefully something that'll pay you well enough where you can set aside enough money that you want to invest to eventually live the financially free life if that's something that interests you. Doing like calculators or whatever, find out what number it is that like you want to invest in things. So for me, like I wanted to invest in like long term like index funds and stuff. So there's tons of calculators that you can do online and whatnot to like kind of set up what kind of income you need and everything to set aside for that.
Hmm.
But yeah, you just need a job, I guess. And there's a lot of things I guess I can say about um, the interviewing process and looking for jobs and everything. Some mistakes that I made in the beginning. One thing that I wish I would have got on a lot earlier that I didn't was actually using LinkedIn and building like a big social network right away when I was in college. So I'd say like if you're coming out of high school, if you're in high school, starting a LinkedIn is a great way to look at different jobs, just to see what's around in your area and to build up a network of people that you know really quickly and efficiently.
I'm a big fan of LinkedIn, so I definitely second that. Like, just start as soon as you start having anything. Like, it's essentially it's kind of like everyone builds a Facebook at some point or another. It seems like where it's just kind of your profile. It's just got some basics of like, okay, this I'm a person. I exist online, I guess. LinkedIn is that same thing, except it's all geared towards purely work and jobs. Just and it doesn't matter, what job or whatever, because I still have all my old stuff on there, like Witch and being a lifeguard and all those part-time jobs. Those are all still on there. And then now it's just kind of transition, and I think it helped me. I always added it to my resume or when I was applying online, was like, oh, if you want to check out more detailed info, just here's my LinkedIn link essentially. And I'm curious if that played much of a role. I feel like it did because I have it filled out pretty extensively. And then so you can, I don't know, you can just go see if you're looking at a prospective employee, I guess from an employer side view, it's like, oh, that's pretty nice if you can, see a nice quality picture of them and see some of their accomplishments and stuff. I feel like it just shows that you're more driven, more taking it seriously. So definitely recommend a LinkedIn.
Yeah, I think they also do like courses, some of them being free if you go to like a university or something. Usually the university will give you access to a lot of their courses and stuff there too. Not really used too much of that, but I don't know if that's something that employers look for often, that you complete like some of the classes and stuff that they do. But I guess if like a job requires Excel work and you need like you don't feel comfortable about doing that, there are classes available for that and you could learn about the program and everything pretty quickly.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think LinkedIn is something that is great that you should get started on if you haven't already. Um, I haven't used it too extensively for like finding jobs and stuff, but like I know it's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, I really wish I would have like got started on it earlier and built up the connections and everything right away. Um, but I'm currently in the job kind of interview process right now. I do not have my own
Hmm.
job out of college yet. I am
Yeah.
still working as a housekeeper at Mystic Lake, and I'm going to school right now, and that's been what's been paying for my school actually. And I'm happy to say that I'll be graduating debt free because of
Oh,
going
that's a
to
boy.
going to Mystic. Yeah, it took a yeah, thanks. Uh,
Yeah.
it took a lot. I mean, I saved up a lot of money in high school though too. Like Cole, you and I worked at Witch for like 2 years. We would work out
Hmm.
all the time after school and everything. So I
Yeah.
just saved up a bunch of money for that.
Yep.
Um, so if like college is something that's interesting to you, so even before going and getting a job, I guess if you are interested in college, you know that of course is going to help you a ton. But we already talked about first jobs and all that. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I guess some of the jobs right now that I'm
Well, I
doing
guess
interviews for.
so. Essentially, the thing you're thinking is like, all right, well, I've got my job that I've had during college, but you're looking for your first, professional job per se, like out of
Yeah,
college,
something
out of school,
that'll pay enough that like it's not you're like living paycheck to
and
paycheck.
probably has
You got to
like
have.
has some sort of benefits package, I'm sure too, whether it's
Mhm.
401k or or health or whatever you got. But yeah, so
Yep.
something with that is what you're looking for now. And I guess that's what begged your question is like, all right, well, if I do want to have, you know, if a salaried position where I get a set amount and then you can really figure out your finances, like basically down to the penny for every month, what's
Mhm.
recurring, what do you spend for fun, and then just work on it from there. That's what you're looking to get now.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's cool.
Yeah, something. Yeah, something that because Mystic isn't going to be supporting me for very long. It's pretty much a minimum wage. It wasn't a minimum wage job before, but now everything's up to like 15 or so, and like it only
Wait, the
pays like
minimum?
16. A lot of places in Minnesota, yeah. I don't know
Wow.
about Minneapolis, but yeah, like Targets are like $15 minimum now. A
Wow.
lot of other grocery stores, and I,
I
I
was
think I
not that way,
mentioned in the
right, Brady?
No, unless you go to somewhere like Costco.
Oh,
Uh, yeah,
uh,
they're 15, but yeah, most places will keep you at a lower, like 9 is kind of what they hit now, which is $2 over the minimum wage technically.
yeah.
huh.
Indiana's that same way. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
man,
every place I see here is 15 or more. And I think I brought up on the podcast of
that's
first
crazy.
jobs. I shouted out Culver's
Yeah.
because Culver's like was like a 16 minimum or something. But now that's not even like that huge of a deal. But gee, I mean, if I was like 16 years old making $16 an hour, that would have been
Pretty
pretty
good.
sweet back in the day. But
Yeah. Well,
I
it's
think
like,
people
yeah.
are having problems finding jobs or not jobs, finding employees. Like all
Mm,
these people are quitting. They don't want to work in the grocery store just because of everything that's going on right now. And
mm,
so a
that's
lot
true.
of us had to raise that just to fill the spot.
yeah, just to get more interest.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because, I mean,
Yeah.
that's also, I don't know, I guess, so at Cyride, I was at like 1604. It's like they always have some weird number. And that's what I was at throughout college. So like 2016 through 2019, I think is the last year I worked at Cyride. But that was like well above, yeah, like you were saying, it's like 8 and 9 were a lot of those dining room jobs. So like I actually felt like I was making bank, but I feel like if it's like 15 in Minnesota, then it would be like, oh, I'm just making $1 more than all these other schmoes.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah. It's definitely interesting that it's that high in Minnesota, but not everywhere else.
yeah,
I don't know why Minnesota exactly has that, but I know for a fact that Minneapolis does not like
okay,
have that minimum. Some of the people who I talk to who are friends up there, who like work at like coffee shops or something, don't make
yeah,
the minimum 15. I know a lot of the campus jobs pay like pretty low too.
okay, I see.
Um, but yeah, I guess I can go into a quick question here. What is something that you all like when you guys were out of high school? I'm sure you had some kind of idea in mind of what you wanted to do. For me, that wasn't the case. It took a while to figure out like even a major just for me. But what is one thing that you look for in a job, like a real job, I guess, one that has, Cole's mentioned, was has the 401k benefits, the health benefits. What's something that you guys look for in a job? Whether it be pay also a minimum of that, or like
Mhm.
what interested you and what you want and what did you want to pursue, I guess.
I'll zing it over to Nick. Because,
Oh,
like,
I've
I
been
mean,
talking this whole time, so I've been quiet. But
yeah.
yeah, I guess I'll start. So for me, the interest for me, I knew since I was a kid I want to be a pilot. I mean, I feel like everyone knew that, and especially in high school, that I want to be a pilot. So
Mhm.
why I wanted to go that route was because I could travel, and I grew up with my dad, being a pilot, and I got to see firsthand the lifestyle that I wanted. He literally works 2 3 days a week, and recently he's been off for 12 days, and it's part of his schedule, normal schedule. It's not like vacation or anything.
Mhm.
And then he lays over in places like the Caribbean or San Juan or Vegas or whatever. So that was my interest at the time. I wasn't thinking investing. Okay, how are their 401ks? And every airline or every cargo carrier you work for is different. But for me, the main thing I wanted to do was travel. So everything else, I wasn't thinking investing wise. I was thinking more of like, okay,
Mhm.
I'm of a family. My family can go to Orlando, to Disney World, and we don't have to pay for lodging and tickets instead of paying for the airfare, which is sometimes the most expensive part.
Mhm.
So that was what I wanted to do. But I know a lot of places 401ks or airlines wise is really, really good. But obviously since then I've switched up things. But yeah, that's what I wanted to do straight out of high school.
Mhm. Well, and important to note for the audience is like you did get your private pilot's license, so you
Yeah.
do still have. You're not. Well, I guess is it still a goal to try to work towards being commercial somewhere, or are you just kind of like, I don't know.
I think for me, I'm gonna go down the real estate hole,
Mhm.
and as money comes in from that, I'm definitely gonna be part of flying clubs. It's gonna be a hobby of mine forever.
Mhm.
But I think I'm still gonna build hours. So then, if something ever happens in real estate, which we've seen downturns in the past, but if something ever happens where then I could jump over and be an airline pilot full time if I wanted to, or even part time somewhere,
Mhm.
I could do that. So just I still want to work towards it and hit all the requirements. So at some point I want to turn around and be like, screw the real estate thing and
Just
jump
gives
into
you
being,
options.
yeah. And I want to be a regional pilot for, a couple of years. I could do that. I
Mhm.
want to I don't want to close any doors. I want to have those doors open if I want to.
Mhm. Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
for sure. Brady, what about you? Although Brady's more entrepreneurial, so he might not be
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
for a job.
But when
I'm not right now, but I remember when I was out of high school or like my first year of college before I got kind of created the position that I'm in now. I wanted to be in like a cool industry, so I was mechanical engineering and something related to like building badass carbon fiber bicycles or working on snowmobiles, jet skis, boats, something like that, or fishing equipment, anything that would kind of be outdoorsy that I could showcase and be like, hey, I'm doing
Yeah,
really cool things,
like
and then
recreational.
yeah, anything like that, and then have a means to an end to be able to start investing, because I basically got super lucky meeting the people that I have, and then made a position for myself getting paid at a startup and having an ownership percentage. Like that was literally like my dream, so that came true, but I wasn't planning on that at all, and I was
Mhm.
trying to find a cool industry to work at.
Hell yeah.
you, Cole?
So I guess, yeah, well, I always knew I wanted to go the engineering route. It wasn't really until kind of middle college that I was like, well, yeah, like one of my friends I met here, he's been entrepreneurial like his whole life. That's the guy, his name's Brandon. Um, like since early high school, he was thinking entrepreneurial. And I mean, I guess like in a small sense I was with like the stupid like t-shirt type stuff or just I don't know, just I guess I always wanted to be creative and have some kind of side thing I'm working on just kind of for fun, and if it makes money that's cool. But there wasn't any like serious entrepreneurial thought until like end of 2018 is when me and Dylan were like, yeah, we should do something together. Like this would be a fun venture to kind of attack. But so before that, I mean, I've always wanted a job in aerospace, like in aerospace engineering, essentially. So that's what I went into, and then I switched to mechanical. And now it's ironic because I don't think I would be working where I do if I stayed an aerospace engineer major, because they hire more mechanical and electrical and materials engineers than they do aerospace engineers. It's just like the reality of it. So I guess I kind of hit that goal, I guess, where I'm, working in a field that I want to, and I get to see some pretty cool stuff. Um, and this all goes back to the moon base, man. I want to, I like that's depending on what entrepreneurial stuff I end up doing. Like I guess the passion, if I have the option to work on something, it would be supporting like the future space missions. I think would be really fucking cool. And so I guess that's with my mechanical engineering degree and being in the aerospace industry, at some point I think I might be able to get to that. But my goal is to really, I want to get to that point, but be financially free where it's like I don't have to work really. Like if I don't want to, like I can just kind of do what interests me. I want more time to, play the drums or keyboard or learn guitar or something like that and travel in general. But yeah, so that's where the entrepreneurial stuff comes in. Is I want to, you know, hopefully have a nice chunk where I, get a nice payoff, and then I can basically just work for fun in the aerospace or space industry, I guess. Because commercial space flight also is really interesting to me, because that'd be pretty damn cool. So yeah, for me it was a combination of, because I also wanted to be like all middle school, all I wanted to be was a fighter pilot. And still I think like in an alternative life, that is absolutely the route I went down. But
I remember that in high school.
yeah, we were in that Civil Air Patrol, and I think that's kind of what turned me off from
Mhm.
military
Yeah.
life. Just a bunch
Well,
of
Civil Air Patrol. Yeah, yeah, that's something else. I mean, that's like a that's a big joke.
It
Like,
really is. And like there were some cool experiences in that, but just the leadership got bad, and
yeah,
I don't know. That
Jafar.
Jafar, yeah. God, the guys and Uwe, man. We should do an episode on Civil Air Patrol. We get Carlos in here. But
Yeah.
so still, yeah, part of me is always like, man, because literally my whole Instagram feed is just filled with fighter jets.
Mm.
So I'm always like, man, that'd be pretty damn cool. But also with the entrepreneurial venture, there's some of those fighter jets, like the F5, which probably none of you know what I'm talking about other than Nick. The F5, you can actually buy those for like a reasonable price. Like their operating expenses are ridiculous, but $100,000, $200,000, you can get like literally a fighter jet with afterburners, like a civilian one. Like it's demilitarized
Wow.
completely. So I don't know if I get to the point where I'm rich enough to buy myself a sick ass plane.
Just getting a fighter jet.
Yeah, dude, just real
This
life
sounds
GTA.
completely impractical.
Yeah, I know, I know. Yeah, I'm
Nick
not.
doesn't get a helicopter to like travel. So he's just like, nah, I want to get a fighter jet.
Yeah,
Like, just
completely, just
mess
like
around.
not fuel
Area
efficient.
man commutes to work in a fighter jet. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys hear Cole? Yeah, he goes. Yeah, man. I don't know. It'd be cool. Maybe someday.
Yeah.
Um, so that's another thing. I guess like the entrepreneurial life, just like the whole goal of financial freedom in general, I guess is, of course you can have different. Obviously, if I want a fighter jet, I need to be pretty wealthy to like want to afford that training, and you have to have like an air crew like maintain your freaking aircraft for you. It's not just something you hop in and go. Um, but that's, I don't know. It opens up a lot of doors. I feel like, well, it has a lot of potential, I should say, and it's kind of an exciting, challenging thing to go after. Um, but I guess just to summarize, yeah, I mean, looking for a job, I've always just wanted something that I'm passionate about, and then engineering also. I guess this is where I was trying to make a point with the military stuff was, well, you're military free, which means the military tells you where to go and what you're doing. You don't have like any say in that. I mean, you have a little bit to an extent, to be fair, but the military would dictate your life, and you're not going to make as much as you would in private industry. So, or at least not until you rise up the ranks or you did like an officer training school or something like that. So, I don't know. That just got ruled out with the Civil Air Patrol experience. I just kind of was like, no. And engineering always was supposed to have a good solid career path and good money. So I was like, all right, well, I'll go with engineering, and then I don't know. I'm just kind of stubborn where it's like I stuck with it. There's definitely times I thought about like switching into business or doing something else, but I am creative. I like building stuff. Um, just going back to being young with Legos and stuff. So I mean, engineering was just like, all right, this is a career path I should probably stick with. So yeah.
Nice. Okay. None of you mentioned pay there, which I thought was really interesting. It was just all interest, passion driven, which is cool, and like good to
Mhm.
hear. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess pay within reason because like part of engineering I wanted to go into was like I knew it paid well. So like it wasn't like, oh,
Yeah.
I need to make this specific amount of money, but it was just more so of like, all right, well, it just kind of aligns together. It was just, you know, you get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it wasn't because I don't know. From what I've heard with other people too, is if you're going into a job solely for the money, like you're probably not gonna have a good time. Like you want something passion aligned with it.
Yeah. Something that at least has some of your interest with it.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and then
'Cause-
to answer your question about benefits, I never really gave it much thought, I guess.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
That stuff usually comes when you get into the job. I feel like.
mhm.
I don't know how many people are like not going to go to a place because they don't offer like this insurance or this
Yeah.
program. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the only time you'd consider that is if you had multiple job offers on the table and you really had to get into the details of like, okay, where do I live?
Mhm.
What are the benefits? And just actually breaking that down.
Yeah, kind of like a pros and cons list for each place. And
Mhm. Which, if you get into that position, you're really sitting pretty.
yeah, you're doing pretty well.
So, yeah. So I guess so,
'Cause-
Alec, right now when you're looking, I guess what are you looking for? Like, are you looking for certain salary or anything or benefits, or are you just looking for something that interests you, or what's your thing?
um, for me, the pay isn't like a huge thing at this point. I kind of just want to get started in something business related. I've been looking at like management roles, and there's actually a financial advising position, which is a bit more entrepreneurial. That wouldn't come with like really any pay, like
Mm.
base pay for it or anything. It's kind of me just like setting up my own business within the company
Oh,
and then
interesting.
reaching out to people. So yeah, that's really interesting. And that's kind of like how a lot of like lower end like sales jobs are most of the time. So like sales reps,
Mhm.
they pretty much got to like start their own business, like selling like let's say like life insurance something. I would hate to sell life insurance though, honestly.
Yeah.
Of all things, like that is like the most hated, I feel like, by people when they get a call from someone who's like in life insurance. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
I've heard that
So
stereotype.
but yeah, just looking to get started in something that's going to pay because I do want to make the goal of setting aside $1,000 each month
Ooh.
to be putting into investing. So money eventually will come into it where I'll need to be making a lot. But at this point, it's like I'm totally fine with just setting aside like whatever 10% I have left
Mhm.
or 20% that I have left for the month, however much that's going to be. With something coming out of college. So just kind of trying to get like entry level business related jobs, I guess, in because I do have a psychology degree and I was interested in research for a while. But doing more research, I realized that like a lot of what research is in psychology is actually just doing research into what other people have done. You're pretty much reading articles like all the time, and it's very very heavily based on reading and analyzing and sifting through like hundreds of articles just to like write your one paper of whatever research you're doing.
Mhm.
So that was just a little bit of a turnoff for me. And I was interested in what's known as industrial organizational psychology, which is essentially just research that goes into the practices for most like HR, and just businesses in general, like the onboarding processes and some of the work, the job tests, like the work sample tests and stuff like that, are developed by industrial organizational psychologists. But the more I thought about graduate school, the less I was interested in it. So yeah, at
Yeah.
this point, it's just kind of like entry-level business-related jobs like human resources or management. And I would be interested in doing some sales also with the financial advising
Very
stuff.
nice.
So yeah, I'm currently speaking with, well, I kind of already have, there's two jobs that I have left that I'm still trying to like weigh options between, which is the more entrepreneurial financial advising position, and then just like a straightforward management position where I know what I'll be getting paid each year. And so I guess if I get an offer from both of them, then yeah, I'm gonna have to. It's some pretty big differences between the two jobs, right? Like one has the potential where I could make a lot of money each year, or just completely fail. You know, advisors, they have a ridiculously high turnover rate, like 95% or something.
Oh.
So a lot of people don't make it through, but if you do stick with it, it's very rewarding. But yeah, it's kind of just like weighing those options. Like, do I want something more risky but has higher return, or do I just want whatever's going to pay the bills for a while and then hopefully move into something else?
Which one would you lean? Like, are you more risk averse or?
I want to say I'm a bit more risk averse sometimes. Yeah, it's hard to tell at this point though which one I'm leaning towards. I probably shouldn't say anything because I did mention to one of them that I did do to the podcast. So
so they're watching.
Hopefully they don't ever like come in and listen and like this. But yeah, so I won't talk about it any further. But
yeah,
in case. But
yeah. Nick and Brady, what about you guys? Are you guys on the risk taking side, or like, ooh, I like to have a stable, or what do you guys think?
I think I already know Brady. Yeah,
definitely risk taking. The bigger the higher the reward, the bigger the risk. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Nick?
Same way. High risk, high reward. They can't be. You do the comfortable thing, you're never gonna get to where you want to be. For me, for my goals. I mean, my goals are so. Alyssa always tells me that my goals need to be more realistic. So if my goals need to be realistic, I can't be low risk. I need to be high risk. So
yeah. And I mean, so it's weird for me because I would like to think of myself as like, oh, I'm a high risk taker, but I don't think I really am. Like my brother more so because he's fully banking on Jazz, which like next year's prospective like stuff looks good. Like we're looking to have a really solid financial year, but it's just like I don't know. I would like to know that it's going to be at least a stable at some point, just because with how our business is, the cash flow is just it's kind of all over the place. Well, not all over the place, but it's sometimes there's like a spike, and then sometimes it's like, oh, there's a lag period, and then it's like, okay, it's okay, stable, and then like it just varies. Like we're just not stable yet, so I guess we're still trying to get to that point. But more stuff, I guess, keeps happening, which is cool. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think okay. Well, when I was this past year, like leaving, if I was just doing jazz, like there was nothing with that, and I also wanted to move to be here with Lizzie. That adds to my personal life and mental happiness. So there was also that I had to weigh. But yeah, I mean, right now it's like, all right, I'm in a stable career, but I'm also not letting up on my side goal of building jazz. So I don't know. I wasn't. I guess for me, I didn't think it would have been a smart move to just go full force on jazz right now at the moment. Like even now, the prospects look better than it did. I mean, coronavirus also happened, which kind of fucks shit over. But like, yeah, midsummer or whatever, if I didn't line anything up, I kind of would have been like, this is gonna be tricky. So, but I mean, I don't know. I kind of want to get to a point where it's like, where I've got my main job, and then Jas just gets so fucking busy where it's like, okay, dude, I like have to leave. That's kind of the point I want to get to. So I'm kind of an in between because I
I'm
wouldn't say,
kind of the same way. Yeah.
yeah, because I mean, I like the stable stuff helps me plan for everything, and I definitely like planning. Like I'm big time type A personality. Like I'm very meticulous on, you know, just anything planning and all the financial stuff. But I don't know. And so when I don't have a stable, like when Jas is hard to predict, I'm like that is just kind of like, oh shit.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah. I agree with that. I'm kind of the same way. It's like I feel like I want to be more risk taking at this moment, but coming right out of college, I do have to be a little bit careful my first year. But
Hmm.
it would be like, especially getting an apartment. So I do have an apartment that I got lined up for
Hmm.
that I'll be moving into next month, and it's like, is now the best time to be very risk taking when I'll
Hmm.
have to be paying this money? Um, I guess like if you're gonna be very risk taking, for me at least, I would have to be in kind of the right position. But I would be more risk taking, but I know that really risk taking people, like, it doesn't matter their situation, like they're still going to be taking like high
Yeah.
risk.
Hmm.
I'm really going for. So that's where I kind of fall like in between,
Yeah.
being very risk taking and not.
Yeah. And I guess I'm curious Brady's thought on this too. Is I guess as an engineer, I feel like I'm very calculated risk taking, where it's like I do like a mental calculation, and you know, if it's calculated risk that I feel like has a high potential, then it's like, all right, then I'll absolutely take that, like no even second thought about it. But if it's like under that whatever threshold, then I'm just like, eh.
Yeah, I definitely run into that a lot. And I feel like the more that I end up thinking about things, the less I am to like take that risk.
Hmm.
So sometimes it's, you just got to make a quick decision. If you initially have a good gut reaction about it, just do it. Like, don't even think about the numbers.
Just
But if
do it.
it's, if you have that bad gut feeling, then you can definitely talk yourself out of it pretty easily. It's
Yeah.
very easy to talk yourself out of doing something.
Hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, I'd say I'm very. This isn't just also as precursor to anyone listening. This is we don't. This isn't. This is just opinions. We're not financial advice again. I
Mhm.
feel like we should almost have that disclaimer, but it's fine.
Put it in the footnotes.
But yeah, it's not like we're telling people to go buy a Tesla stock or something. It's like, which I mean, I don't know where the fuck I'm going with this. Anyways,
Which you don't do, by the way.
yeah, I was like about to say like, oh, you know, it might not be a bad idea. You know, it's Tesla, but also
It would
could
have
be.
been not a bad idea a year ago, but
Yeah,
now it might be
yeah.
because it might
But I
be
guess,
super inflated.
yeah. Well, I was talking about, all right, well, you know, we're not ones to give financial advice, and then I was just literally about to drop like my opinion on buying Tesla stock. So, but yeah, yeah. So,
Okay. I still. All right.
yeah. What else? What else, Alec? You got?
Well, I mean, if you're gonna be looking for a job, you obviously need to build up your skills and everything else, and get a good resume out there.
Mhm.
I know for a while I built a resume, which I thought was great last year, and I would bring it into someone to look at, which usually ended up being a student, which really disappointed me. I wish they had like recruiters or something on
Mm.
campus who, like, do actually look at a bunch of different resumes and know what to look for and whatnot. So it didn't get, like, the person approved it every time I went there, and I was like, really, there's like nothing I need to change, like it looks good and stuff. Um, but it obviously wasn't good because I was not getting like responses from anyone, or if I did, it was like, sorry, we're not considering your application. And
Mhm.
it's like, geez, I think it's because I always just had a gut feeling that it was the resume
Mhm.
that needed working on, and so I eventually made it better and started hearing back from people and whatnot. But I guess if you go to a university, or if you don't go to a university, find a friend who goes to university and give them a resume, and hopefully there'll be someone there who can check it and everything will look good for you. But I think I just had a weird moment where
Mm.
the person who I was going to see like wasn't exactly qualified to like give the best advice for building a resume. But yeah, that's obviously a really big thing too. I mean, aside
Mhm.
from just building up your skills, you want to put them on paper and really sell yourself. I think that's a big part of getting a job too. It's not always just what you know, but it's like how you can sell yourself too.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a job, because if you go into an interview or something and you're just kind of like mumbling your way through it and going through the motions and I don't know, not really seeming like all that interested or like I don't know, not really selling yourself enough. Like I know that my first interview, like I just had like a huge brain fart at one point. Like I was talking about myself and then I was like, what wait, what even is the question? So yeah, I don't know. You can sometimes find yourself like going in circles and stuff with like interviews, but there's a lot of like resources out there to
Mhm.
help like calm yourself down before an interview. Let's say like even ones just over the phone. Like I know that if you like sit down when you're doing an interview on a phone, like you're not going to be this is like some
As
psychology
lively.
stuff. Yeah, you're not going to be as lively and you're also going to kind of have more of those brain farts too, where when you're sitting you're not doing anything, like your mind is kind of doing the same thing and sitting idly. So like when you stand up and you move around and stuff, it just kind of gets the gears moving.
Is that
Mhm.
why I walk on my couch when I'm on the phone? Like I'm like, hey guys.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Dude,
I've never.
I'm a huge phone walker, dude. I am not.
Yeah,
I can't sit still on the phone. I'm like,
hanging on my
you
balcony.
got it.
you're like doing one arm
Yeah.
pull-ups. It's like, yeah, man.
You just walk in circles.
Oh yeah, I
Stay in a
pace.
circle. Yeah.
It's like Dumbledore and like the Marauders map, Prisoner of Azkaban, dude. Of course, just pacing in his study. He's probably on the phone. That's what he was doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting. Psychology tips
Yeah.
for
So.
Big Elk.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, you need to. If you're trying to get a job, you do need to have. You need to be prepared, obviously. And
Yeah.
not every interview is going to go great. You're not going to hear back from every place. You might have those moments where you do have that bright fight and you're like, you have to ask the question again and you're embarrassed and you just know that you've messed up. But,
Yeah. I'm
you
trying to
know,
think of
uh,
the worst interview I've had. God, I don't know. There,
I really didn't.
there's been certain interviews I've had, even for this job. Like, I remember. Okay, so it was over the phone or like Skype interview or whatever for this. Because I already did. So there was an on-site assessment day that I already did, and then it was basically like a follow-up interview just to like solidify the position. So the on-site interview day was like intense, but I'm in person, so that's a little bit. This was all before coronavirus, and even when I got it before that was before. But so that was all like I don't know. I feel like in person I can. It's in person works better for me because I think my voice. My dad always gives me shit. He's like, you sound awful on the phone. You sound so monotone and just like boring. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, probably do.
Do
And
any of our listeners think that?
yeah, really.
That
Comment
listen to the
below.
podcast.
Yeah.
It's cool boring to listen to.
Yeah. God, cold talks just. Oh. But but this last one for the job I have now, I remember, dude, I literally asked them to repeat a question like 5 times. And one thing I think that was kind of a saving grace was because I kind of started laughing it because it was kind of just getting to the point where it was ridiculous. And, you know, and I think they started laughing too, if I recall, because I was just like, I'm sorry, what was the question? I like couldn't. It was it was not worded well. It was a
Oh.
long ass question. It really drawn out, but yeah. I suppose Nick, you have to get going soon.
Yeah. I gotta get going. I'm checking out right now. I'll see you guys later.
All right, see you,
Sounds
Nick.
good.
Thanks for joining.
See ya. Have a good week.
Have a good week. Oh shit. I gotta fix this podcast thing here now.
The screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think my worst interview, now that you brought it up, I remembered a bad experience. I was talking, it was just a phone interview with a company in Des Moines,
Mm.
and the interview was going pretty well. I was like a freshman, I think it
Oh,
was fall semester freshman, so I was barely out of high
you're
school.
balling.
And the question was, it's like, this is a creative question. What can you do with a pencil? And they gave me 1 minute. They literally timed me, and I was like, honestly, I'm more of a realist. It's a pencil. If you want me to get creative, I can think of examples of me being creative, but it's a fucking pencil. Like, I didn't say that, but pretty close to. And then just kind of sat there in silence because he really wanted me to come up with ideas for 30 seconds longer after that. It was like,
Oh my god.
You were just like, it's a pencil. You write stuff.
yeah.
He's
Like,
good.
what would you say to that? Like, do you have any creative ideas as what you can use a pencil for?
Drawing a circle, making a triangle, writing letters down.
Yeah.
Just bullshit your way through it.
Really, I'm trying to think of like what I'd do. It's like, all right, well, this is a pen. I need an actual pencil here. Oh, here we go. Perfect. All right, we got this pencil.
Nice. You can do the thing where you flip it around. You know, you
Or
do the
make
thing.
it wavy. It's a bendy pencil.
Oh,
And then
for all our
you
viewers.
could use this as a pointer.
Oh, pointer. I like that one.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
good.
point. You
Okay.
can. What else could you do?
Scratch
with
your
this?
head.
Yeah, it's a head scratcher.
It's a head scratcher. Well, not that side. Use the
Not-
eraser
You
side.
can write on
What?
yourself.
What are you
You
doing,
don't-
dude?
Yeah, right on your forehead.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could bite the pencil to sharpen your teeth.
Yeah,
And
you could.
when you are in second grade, you could do that and lose a tooth because of it, which is what
Oh,
I
you
did.
that?
Yeah. I was like chewing on a pencil, and then, dude, my tooth just was gone. I was like, yo!
Yo.
Yeah. But, dude, it was like
Oh, you're
terrifying.
hired.
What'd you say?
You're hired.
Yes.
Yeah.
Made it, baby. Dude, that is bullshit,
There
though.
you go.
I
That
was
was
really
it.
stretching there. That's a stupid question.
Mhm.
Like, even like a water bottle, you could get more creative with. It's just anything.
Yeah, you're like,
Just-
oh, you can make it into a rocket. You know, you
Yeah.
twist it and make it pressurized, and you could freeze
Yup.
it, and yeah,
Use it as an ice pack.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
There you go. Yeah,
Look at
anything
this
like
guy
that.
with the
Blow
fucking
it up with
pencil,
some
dude.
TNT.
Yeah, the pencil. So then they were just like, yeah, this guy's not creative at all.
Exactly. I did not present myself well on that.
They're like, what a fucking engineer. This guy's not a design major. Yeah. So,
I just had a kind of bad interview recently with a detention deputy position that I don't know why I applied for that, but I think I was just like intrigued by the pay. That's like one of those jobs where I definitely was only intrigued by the pay of
oh,
it.
yeah.
And so yeah, I applied for it just to see what I would get. And I had 2 interviews with him, and I don't know how I got the second interview after the first one, but I actually had to go in to the like detention center, the jail essentially, and I was interviewed there. And I had another interview that day where I was like very dressed up for. This was for the financial advising position later.
See where this is going.
Because I was dressed in like my best clothes
To the
essentially.
nines.
Just trying to, yeah, exactly. Just trying to show up and be very presentable there because that's kind of the environment that it is there. And so I was gonna go straight from the detention deputy one to the other one. And I had 30 minutes time, which keep in mind, this is the day that it snowed 8 inches. So it was just, I was like very late to the second one, but the first one went just like awfully though. Like me and the guy were kind of like the person there's 2 people who were interviewing me, which is already intimidating for some reason, but you got to do that for inter-rater reliability and stuff. It's actually good to be doing that, is what I've learned, but it is intimidating when there's 2 people like right in front of you, like writing stuff down and stuff. But anyways, there was a question that was like about it was just worded so strangely. I don't remember exactly what exactly was, but it was something related to like how have you gone about it was something about like doing illegal activities, like buying underage people like alcohol and stuff. And I just answered it like terribly. I was like, yeah, I bought like alcohol for my girlfriend before, but like I don't feel like any remorse for it or anything. Like I don't feel like I've done something wrong.
And they're just
and
like,
they dude, they just like looked at each other and they're like, well, that was the question. And I was like, oh shit.
dude, that's wait.
So
So like, they were probably trying you to be like, oh shit,
yeah, I
Brady
saw
lost
Brady.
connection.
Yeah, Brady lost connection.
Okay,
Dropping like flies today.
apparently.
But
Well, let me turn off this overlay right now. Wait. Oh, there we go. It's back to the middle.
yeah,
Oh, it says Nick. All right, well, whatever.
it was also really bad because I'm involved in research also at the University of Minnesota, and I'm working with the COVID-19
Mhm.
study, and there's like a question where I'm working with like a graduate student on her research related to like the death of George Floyd
Mhm.
in Minneapolis, and I don't think they liked that I brought that up there either because they are
Oh,
part of like the government and everything.
oh
And, like
yeah,
the responses that I'm going for are like kind of against how wrong it is and everything that he was killed. And it was like I
yeah.
should not have brought that was like another thing where it's like
Oh
I
shit.
should have thought about that before. Like, yes, it's a good thing to talk about the research that I do, but I had to be careful.
Yeah. Okay. So like,
Yeah, you
with the
should
with the
go to
alcohol question though, they were looking for you to be like, oh no, I would never do that. That's illegal.
yeah, dude. But I just gave my honest opinion, and I was like, I could have lied to them.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes you should lie on an interview. But I'm kind of glad I didn't get the job anyways, because
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I would have hated to work with that guy. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, I did.
Just a
It was just
bunch of
hilarious because you could tell they just hated my response. They just looked at each other, and then he's like, "Well, that's the question." It's like, I gotta say something wrong.
they're
I
just
had
like
to,
this guy.
yeah.
That's
And
funny.
the question was worded so strangely too. I can't even remember how it was
Yeah.
phrased, but I had to I was like, "Can you give me an example?" And that's when he was like selling
Underage.
alcohol to underage people, and I was like, I did kind of bring myself back with being like, "Yeah, I wouldn't sell it to anybody that I don't know,"
Yeah.
but
But
like I
ultimately they were like, all right, well,
yeah,
this
yeah,
fucking guy.
yeah.
That's
So
pretty funny.
terrible,
Yep.
but
That's awesome, dude. We'll have
yeah.
to
Let's
see.
see.
I wonder
Well,
if Brady's getting back. I wonder if he's gonna snap me. Because I mean, it's basically, what are we at? 47 minutes. We can probably get ending this here pretty soon.
yeah, just trying to think if there's. I mean, is there any last minute things? So like once again, I'm the one who doesn't have the job here. Really, I do have a
Yeah.
job, but it's not the job. So
Yeah.
is there any
That'll
other
be exciting
things you
though,
can?
because Alex, you're a persistent boy, so you'll just
Mm-hmm.
keep ripping, and you're gonna get something eventually.
Yeah. Well, I feel like one of the jobs they haven't
Interview.
given me the.
Yeah.
Well, I've gone into the office. I met with them at a career fair. Oh, that's another big thing is do
Mm.
career fairs if you're looking for a job and you're in college.
Yeah.
That's a really big thing. That's why I'm talking to the two companies that I'm talking to now, because
Mhm.
you actually get to meet someone face to face. Well, for me, it was virtual
It's like this.
with COVID times. Yeah.
Yep.
But that's like a great way to just have like a quick sell yourself for 10 minutes and ask bring good questions with you to ask of them. And the questions are actually really big too. You don't want to go into an interview and not have any questions ready for you that it might seem like you're not all that interested. What's up?
I'm just struggling here apparently.
Oh,
Okay. Oh, what? Sorry, my
it's okay.
overlay got all fucked. It's all good.
Oh, that's fine. I was just saying that's a really big thing though to go into interviews with lots of questions ready. If you because that's another mistake that I made when I was first doing interviews is they'd ask me, "Do you have any questions?" And I was like, I didn't think of
Mhm.
any. I'll send you an email or something if I think of any. But
Yeah.
that's something that always looks really good is if you bring really good questions to them, kind of almost like interview them a little bit too.
Mhm.
Um,
I think
so
Brady's rejoining here.
okay,
Yeah, we'll get him.
nice.
Let him load in. I've had to change this thing. It's all. Hey, he's back.
Hey,
I don't know what happened
welcome.
there. Random internet disconnect.
Oh, rip. Shit happens. It's all good. We're just starting to wrap up with like some of that job advice, and there's something I was gonna say.
yeah,
I
was
guess
gonna ask you.
questions. Yeah, questions for
Uh-huh.
interviews. Yeah, so that's definitely a big thing you bring up because I also used to be that way where I'm like, yeah, do you have any questions for me? And I'm like, no, not that I can think of. But that
Yeah,
just
you don't want
shows
to do
like,
that.
yeah, no, you definitely want, and I mean, honestly, if you really think about it, it's like you should always have questions where it's like, oh, what's a typical work day look like? What time do you get in? Is like the work environment chill? Like, are you friends with coworkers? Like, just get them talking. And I mean, these are all legitimate questions though too, because you're kind of like, all right, well, is this a good career fit for me? And I feel like that's a big thing where if they can see you as, oh, this person's chill, they're someone that could be a good coworker. Um, and then even beyond that, if they're not going to be directly working with you, at least that it's like, okay, yeah, they seemed very interested and that they're really trying to, they obviously don't know who else you're interviewing with, but they really see that, all right, well, if this person's asking all these questions about the work environment or, benefits or pay or whatever it is, then they probably kind of realize like, oh, okay, this person, they're probably trying to decide between different job choices. So if we do want them, or I guess I think it would make you stand out more, where they'd be more impressed if you have questions that you thought about beforehand.
Hmm. I was gonna say you did bring up pay at one point. It's actually not good to bring up pay within the
Yeah.
first interview. Sometimes not even the second,
Hmm.
depending on how many interviews they have. That's just a question that, you're not guaranteed the job at that point. You should be asking different questions, not related to
Yeah.
what it
Yeah.
would be like if you were to get hired.
Yeah. Any
Um,
questions? So what's the pay for this bitch?
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I've made that mistake before too. I'm like, well, not to get into money, but like, what am I going to be getting paid? Like the job, if they didn't ask or list
Yeah.
anything. But even
Hmm.
if it doesn't, just don't ask it on the first interview.
Hmm.
Um, it's just not always the best. It kind of just seems like you're, just out there for pay. And there's so many other questions that you can ask. I think
Yeah.
one of my favorite ones is if the person who's interviewing you is actually the position that you want to be in, just ask how they got started there and like what got them interested and what the whole process looked like for
Hmm.
them right away. If
I
they have
feel
any
like
tips or advice.
feel like another psychology kind of tactic is to just get the other person talking. And almost actually,
Hmm.
I read a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think Brady, have
Yeah,
you read that?
karmic. Yeah, huge.
Yeah,
I took the class too. I love it. Big on
yeah,
that.
that's huge. It's a really good book. Good info. And in that, it's like doesn't say directly, but essentially, it's like people like talking about themselves. And I think I've heard this in more ways than just in like the book, other miscellaneous psychology stuff. But if you can get the interviewer like talking about themselves, like okay, everybody loves talking about themselves. It's just kind of
Hmm.
like a reality. So if you get them, I don't know, it's worked good for me at least. I've always just add like questions like, okay, so how do you like your job? You have work friends there? Do you like the work environment? And then it just kind of goes off into a tangent. Then it's like if you can find and make a connection with like a common interest, then that's just like a bonus because then they're like, oh yeah, that person, I like that guy.
Hmm.
They say
So
the best interviews are the ones that actually go like a conversation. It's not one-sided, whether you're asking questions or they're asking questions.
hmm.
It's, you just kind of maybe have like a brainstorming session or like, oh, that's cool. Tell me about this. And, just have a normal conversation like we are right now.
Yeah, 100% agreed with that. What is weird, one of the companies I interviewed for, it was Eaton, and I had two interviews with them, and yeah, it all went well. But it was funny because the first interview was like the career fair one, and I met with this lady, and she was super nice, and I was trying to be very like conversational, but she was very like what's the term, like disciplined and like to
Yeah.
stick to the questions. So like we would kind of get off topic and we would just be talking because she was from Minnesota down in Iowa. She's like, oh yeah, I love the Prior Lake area, and so like we'd just get off on these kind of tangents, but then she would just kind of go back like right into the questions and be hardcore about it, and I was like, oh shit. So I had to like get her like off it like a few times, but I mean, she was like, "Yeah," she's like, I'll pass your name along. I think we'll get you to that next interview for sure," is what she basically said, and she did. So then I had a little weekend trip, or I guess weekday trip to Pennsylvania. I went to Pittsburgh to do an interview there.
They paid for everything, didn't
Yep,
they? Okay, yeah. I
that's
have
the
never
same with
had.
the roles.
Okay, Do you do most interviews out of state do that then? Because I've never had one. No.
I think that's like a giant engineering company thing. I mean,
Okay.
not even just engineering companies, big business or whatever. Um,
Mhm.
which I also kind of realize. I feel like almost every company that sells some sort of product is probably engineering, unless if it's like
Mhm.
insurance or has some sort of engineering department, right? Wouldn't you think, Brady? Maybe I'm
Mm,
being narrow-minded here.
no, I think that's pretty narrow-minded.
Okay. All right. All right. I guess when I think about like some of the big ones, like even like Target, for example, you have to have like fuck me. I don't know where I'm going. But okay.
So, right.
So
Well, I got
anyways,
a
I
question.
guess
Would you guys?
I'm
Ooh.
just just finish my thought. I guess I was just
Yeah.
saying is like I'm in the engineering field, so that's what I'm used to
Yeah.
and I don't know. The big engineering companies are big and when they're getting,
Big, big engineering companies are big. All right.
yeah, you can quote me on
Cold
that.
2020. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Name
Yeah.
the episode.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
it. We'll cut it there. But they've got large capital, and if they're trying to find like engineering candidates, which is like pretty high pay, like they'll easily foot a couple grand to host them for a week, or
Yeah.
sorry, not a week, a day or two, to do like an interviews thing. So I feel like it just kind of depends, but I guess overall I would say is like the larger the company is, those are the ones that like okay, if we need to fly in out of state candidates, we can do that.
Mhm. My question was going to be, do you guys think it's worth it for someone who isn't paid to go out there to then go out there and do the interview? Not depending on how likely they think they're going to get the job, just in general. That's
It
worth
depends
it.
on the job, I would say. It really is, yeah, dependent. And if you actually want to like relocate to somewhere, like if you're trying to relocate to that area, then yeah, for sure, because you'd want to go over there anyways, right?
Mm,
But if it's like you're kind of questioning it, like it's in Wichita, Kansas, you're like, I don't really want to move down to Wichita. Try and do something
Yeah.
over Zoom or phone call and go from there. Say like,
Mhm.
hey, I'm not really comfortable going 20 hours out of my way to the
mm,
middle of nowhere. Can we do this over the
yeah,
internet?
I would
And I think
also
now that'd be easier too because everyone's doing over the internet.
definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
that is a great thing.
I would also
So,
say that it should also depend on how passionate you would be about that potential job or
mhm.
position, because if it's something where it's like I don't know if I like really care that much, then you probably have already made your mind there. But if it is like, man, this is a kind of a dream job for me, then you could weigh that option, depending how far it is too. If it's like, it's one thing if it's 2 or 3 hours, but it's a whole nother thing if it's like 20.
Different state or something. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, because that was, I mean, personally, I don't think I would go all the way to a different state just for, possibly not even getting the job. Like, I'm not going to set aside a couple days of
Hmm.
the week, unless it was something where it was like, okay, this is like big dream job
Yeah.
possibility here. Like, this
Yeah,
is exactly what I'm looking for, exactly the right area. There would have to be a lot of stars that align for the
definitely.
company that earn the job position. But yeah, otherwise, overall, yeah, I'd say no. Just yeah, make a Zoom call if they can do that.
Yeah,
Otherwise, if they cross their hands and they're like, nah, we're not gonna
yeah.
do that, then screw it, don't go.
Definitely, definitely. So,
All right. I was gonna ask, Cole, is there anything else you can think of that I didn't hit? I know job fairs, interviews, resumes are a pretty big thing. Actually, do you want to quick talk about resume building? Or
I think what you said earlier was good. Is find someone who's like a credible resource. I also think just you can find out a lot on YouTube. Like
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
so. For instance, for me, that helped me a lot was literally the Engineered Truth YouTube channel, like early college days. And so then it was funny to like be back as a co-host on the channel like 4 years later or whatever. It was just weird. It's just bizarre,
Yeah.
honestly. It's like it was a cool experience. But that honestly, that channel like really helped me because I was he was just straight to the point about job interviews and applying, and he gave some really good practical advice. And I mean, I guess that's kind of why I like this being practical prosperity is it should we're really trying to make this practical and not like I don't know, because you can talk so up in the clouds sometimes where it doesn't really come down to nature. So this is like real stuff you can actually do. Um, but no, I thought yeah, so YouTube is honestly a good resource for a lot of different things. Of course, you have to figure out the credibility kind of amongst yourself and judge it. If I forget what that thing is, I learned it in English class where essentially if you're watching a video or reading an article, like it should establish like credibility and authority like pretty early on, so then it like gives you the all right, I can read through this and I can feel that it's a valid source essentially. But I guess I don't know what field essentially, because like for me it was always just like, all right, how to get an engineering internship essentially. So then all the videos on there, and you have to watch a few ones to find which ones you kind of jive with and which one establishes that right amount of credibility. But that's where I found Engineered Truth, is because he had a few internships and he had friends that he worked with and he helped them get jobs essentially, like high paying jobs, like $100,000 plus in like the nuclear engineering type fields. um, so it was like, oh, okay, this guy, I think I could legitimately take this guy's advice. So yeah, I guess for resumes and that kind of stuff, insert whatever field you're in, or college area of study, and then resumes or interviews or whatever. Brady, you want to add anything to that?
I'm just trying to think. I don't know, the best experience that I've had, well, is just because my dad, he works at John Deere and he's hired, hundreds, maybe even 1,000 engineers.
Yeah.
Maybe not many, but he's looked at 1,000 resumes for sure in his life coming out of college and people with experience. And so just having him to be able to say, for engineering, it's very much what did you do, how did you grow, and then what were the results. Like nobody ever quantifies things. If you quantify something on your resume, say like I increased productivity 12%, I made this process 43% better and saved the company X dollars, or I delivered a project that was $2 million on time, then you're just automatically like, boom, you're pretty much going to get hired. Because everyone glazes over that. Nobody thinks they've done anything, or even if you're coming out of college, you have to really quantify that, at least for mechanical engineering. Other jobs, like I just hired a graphic designer for one of my companies, and is more, word based and English based than anything, just because I was trying to get them to be like, well, how did you deliver? And they're like, look at these designs. I'm like, okay, whatever. Yeah, cool. It does look good, I guess.
Well, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
You got hired though.
I definitely think I speak from a bias just being an engineer, so I'm very numbers oriented, and that is definitely a thing in the field with engineering. Is I always, whenever I could find numbers with any of my projects, with internships and stuff, you bet that bitch was going on there, man. And of course, on the resume is like, it should be all stuff you can legitimately talk about without having to like look at a note sheet. Like, just talk about true experience.
And use acronyms too,
Yeah, and then explain the acronym.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the things with my last internship. It was like I worked on this like RQSC document, which it's like means fucking nothing to anyone. And essentially all it is, it's like a requirement specification is all it is. But it's like, yeah, got implemented this RQSC change that attributed to about $15,000 in annual savings through 2031. And I'm like, oh, tell me about that. And it's like, I can tell you a little bit about that. Yeah, start getting a little slow talking, like kind of honey just pouring out of your mouth. Just get real sensual all of a sudden, and then it just goes. I'm gonna stop now.
Yeah. What's
Digging
going
yourself
on?
a hole.
What'd you say?
You're digging yourself a bigger hole.
Dude, yeah. I've been doing that this episode, man. Just digging some holes. I'm like 0.
Dude, right now, this is you're just doing it again.
Have you guys seen that though? Holes?
Yeah, I never seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the reference.
All right. Good.
I've seen it. It's been ages. I'm pretty sure the last time I watched it was at your house, Cole. Actually,
Really?
which
We
yeah.
should all watch Highway 35, the world race.
Oh, no, that'd be nice.
Yeah, it would
Drinking
be.
night with the boys,
Oh
watching
yeah,
Highway 35.
Let's just
That
make
would
that
be
the
pretty great.
podcast episode.
yeah.
Live reaction. Like,
Dude, we could. There's no way that it would get copyrighted. Like, there's zero chance.
Well,
We
the
could.
whole thing's on YouTube anyways, so
Yeah,
yeah,
we could actually watch that.
it's pretty great.
Yeah.
Okay, before we get too off topic though, I just want to add one quick thing about the resume, which is that
Mhm.
you should start early and right away and constantly be building it. You don't want to be preparing it like right before you start applying for jobs. You want to be doing it
Yeah.
long beforehand.
And
And so you can just quickly add experiences as they come.
and it should have.
yeah.
It should also be what I call like a living document. If you guys
I
have
was
ever heard
just
that
gonna
name.
say that.
Yeah, it's like you have a resume. You don't need to build a new one every like month or every year or whatever. It's like basically it's like once you start your resume, you just kind of adapt it, modify it, make improvements. It's always still going to be your resume. It's just basically what revision is it?
Yeah, unless like the style is like outdated or something,
Yeah.
then like you might want to start from scratch. Because I know the one that I used like back in high school, like I made it like all colorful and stuff, and it's like and that one was like scrapped, like ex-nate right away.
Hmm.
And just like when I went to college, made a brand new one from scratch.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I got
yeah,
you.
otherwise, yeah, you pretty much just like update it
Yeah.
constantly. You never need to make like new ones unless like you're applying for completely different jobs. Like you might
Yeah.
want to include different, more relevant experiences and stuff
Hmm.
on different resumes. But yeah, if you're applying for the same thing,
That's what I was just gonna
update.
say is if you have, you usually list your experience in like chronological order, obviously. Well, if you can like shuffle things around a little bit just to make it, the most relevant experience to the job that you're applying for needs to be at the top. And so maybe you're working somewhere else that's not relevant. Don't even put that on your resume
Yeah.
at this point, especially if you're in school. You just leave it off. It's not worth anything and actually makes it more confusing. Like why are you doing this job if you want to work in mechanical engineering or
For
stuff
sure.
like that.
Tell me, sir, how does working at McDonald's apply to your mechanical engineering job, man?
Like you had a good internship last year. Why do you not have anything this year? Like, I don't know.
Well, so to add to your point is like, yeah, if you were working at McDonald's, for example, and then maybe you had another part-time job before that, and then you had your internship before that, but your internship is the most relevant one, you should like section it then where it's like professional work experience and other work
Yes.
experience.
Yes.
Because that's what I did. Otherwise, it was always going to be SciRide at the top of my list, and I was like,
SciRide.
okay,
Mhm.
yeah. So,
Don't press SciRide.
yeah, let's talk about SciRide. Much more relevant than my Rolls Royce internship, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, hell yeah, we could. I don't know if audience are interested. By the way, we got some viewers from Brazil on our podcast. Yeah,
Hello, Brazil.
That's exciting.
yeah. So
How
I
many?
don't.
Three?
What'd you say?
Like 3 people from Brazil?
I don't
Like,
know.
Yeah, what's a few?
Yeah, I think I'd have to go look at the number. I don't think I saw the number. I just saw a percentage. It was like 2% of your podcast like thing is from Brazil. And I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Hey, that sounds like we have at least 50 viewers then.
Yeah,
If it's at 2%.
I am curious. We have gotten more because Apple Podcasts. I don't know if they just somehow recommend your whatever, but there's been some people coming randomly from wherever. And I mean, I haven't even tried promoting this at all. Like at some point, I just kind of wanted to get some core episodes established, and then
first.
yeah, then I was gonna start. I don't know. We can either, well, not we. I guess it'd be me. I could just pay like $10 a month and just see what happens. Get some random listeners, and I don't know, just because it'd be interesting. And then also on my social media, like if we have a really solid episode sometime, like I mean we can probably plan for this where it's a lot more, I guess, organized. That might be somewhere I'm like, hey, I started up a podcast, family and friends. If you want to check it out or give us a like I would appreciate it if you're interested, and then just see what happens.
Yeah. So since Cole's talking about the podcast to our audience here,
Yeah,
share the podcast, if you can.
yeah, really. Yeah. I don't know. we'll see where it's going. But I think, what is this now? So this is technically episode 6, but there's been a couple of bonus in there. So is this like 8 or 9 or something like that?
Yeah, this would be 8. Pretty
Okay.
sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it sounds like, I think there's a drinking episode in it's brewing.
It's
It's brewing. I don't know
if
when.
it's brewing, might have to get that Jazz pH monitor going on it.
That's right, man. That's right.
The distillation.
It's hype. We got a bunch of Jazz equipment in now, so it's hype to have some inventory. It's just nice. I just like
Nice.
looking at it. I might not even
Mhm.
sell it. I'm just gonna look at it.
There you go. Tuck it in every night.
Yep, that's right.
All right, well, we should probably cut this. Huh?
Yeah, that sounds good. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. We will see you guys next week.